Her plane landed an hour ago, and I'm still standing in the arrivals area, holding a wilted bouquet I bought from a gas station on the way here. The welcome home sign I made is smudged from my palms sweating. People keep walking past me, hugging, laughing, reuniting. But not her. There's no Blythe. I checked the flight board 3 times. She was on it. Landed 58 minutes ago. Gate 11B. Luggage carousel 3. Everything lined up. Except her. She's not answering her phone. I called twice, then 4 more times. I texted, "Are you okay? Did something happen?" "I'm at the terminal." No response. I asked the woman at the airline counter if maybe there was a delay getting off the plane. She said, "No, sir. That flight disembarked 45 minutes ago." Smiled at me like I was some sweet, confused idiot. I stood by the parking garage elevators. Maybe she took a wrong turn. Maybe her phone died. Maybe her bags were lost. Maybe I'm an idiot. Then, I got the photo. No caption. Just an image. Sent to me from a number I didn't recognize. It was her. Blythe. In a different city. A different hotel. And definitely not alone. She was wearing the blue sweater I bought her last Christmas. Hair tied up. Sitting in a restaurant booth. Smiling at a man I'd never seen before. His hand was resting on her knee. I stood there staring at the photo while some little kid ran past me shouting, "Daddy." I didn't even blink. Then came the message. "You should go home, Dalton. She's not coming back." And just like that, the world around me went silent. Like I'd been shoved underwater. Like every sound got sucked out of the terminal. People walking, announcements blaring, none of it reached me. I wanted to scream. Instead, I walked to my car. I sat in the driver's seat for 22 minutes, engine running, hands gripping the wheel. I didn't cry. I didn't even speak. I just sat there. Then my phone buzzed again. It was her, calling me. I didn't want to answer. But my thumb moved before my brain did. I pressed accept, and her voice? Calm. Too calm. She said, "Before you do anything stupid, I need you to listen." She had no idea I already knew. She had no idea I'd seen the photo. And she had no clue what I'd planned to do next. I didn't say anything when I answered. I just let her voice come through the speaker, cold and steady, like she hadn't just vanished off the face of the earth. "Dalton, are you there?" she said. "Please don't hang up." I still didn't answer. She sighed. Then she said the same thing again, just slower this time, like I was 5 years old. "Before you do anything stupid, I need you to listen." I wanted to laugh, or maybe scream, but all I did was whisper, "Where are you?" There was a pause. I heard traffic in the background. Then, faintly, her voice. "Not where you think." That's when something inside me snapped. I didn't even realize I was yelling until I heard myself shouting into the phone. "You missed your flight. You vanished for an hour. You sent a photo with his hand on your leg, Blythe. Who the hell is he?" She went quiet. No denial. No excuses. Just silence. Then she said the words I'll never forget. "You weren't supposed to see that." My stomach dropped. Not because she admitted it. No, at this point I knew. But because of the way she said it. Like it was a technical glitch. Like the photo had accidentally leaked. Like I'd spoiled some master plan she was still halfway through executing. I pulled the car out of the airport lot without even knowing where I was going. My hands were shaking on the wheel. "What does that mean?" I asked. "You weren't supposed to get caught cheating on me? Is that it?" "It's more complicated than that," she said. "Enlighten me." Another pause. I swear I could hear her breathing. Then she said, "It's not cheating if the marriage was over a long time ago. You just never realized it." That hit harder than I expected. She said it like I was the one holding on to something broken. Like I was the delusional one. As if I should have just seen the signs and politely stepped aside so she could run off with some hotel guy and sip wine without guilt. I pulled over to the side of the road. My eyes were burning. "So what was the plan?" I asked. "Ghost me? Divorce papers in the mail? Or just block my number and pretend I died?" Still no apology. No emotion in her voice at all. "We were supposed to talk in person," she said. "But he sent you that photo to force my hand. I didn't want it to happen like this." I froze. "He?" I repeated. "Wait, he sent it? He took the photo?" "Yes," she said. And that's when the dread hit me. This wasn't just a fling. This wasn't some 2-week hotel affair with a guy from Tinder. Whoever he was, he knew about me. He wanted me to see it. And now she sounded scared. I asked, "Who is he, Blythe?" The line went quiet again. Then she whispered, "Dalton, please, whatever happens next, Don't call the cops. And just like that, the line went dead. I sat there in the car, staring at my phone like it had personally betrayed me. Her last words echoed so loudly in my skull I could barely hear anything else. Don't call the cops. Not I love you. Not I'm sorry. Not even goodbye. Just that cold, panicked warning. I must have called her back 5 times. Straight to voicemail. I texted once. Tell me where you are. I'm not playing games. No reply. I stared at the last photo again, the one the mystery number sent me, zooming in on every detail like it might contain a hidden message. Her hand on the wine glass. The man's sleeve, navy blue, expensive. His watch, gold. A scar on his knuckle. Then I noticed something in the background. A name etched into the mirror behind their booth. Not a reflection, engraved glass. I looked it up. The Gilded Finch. A high-end restaurant. Not in our city. Not even in our state. It was in Maine. She was supposed to be flying in from a work event in Chicago, not hiding out in New England with some guy in a gold Rolex. I felt sick. Like physically sick. My stomach twisted into something sharp. My mouth went dry. Everything I thought I understood about this affair suddenly cracked open into something much uglier. She hadn't missed her flight. She hadn't gotten distracted or lost. She had lied to me about the entire trip. The flight. The work conference. All of it. I opened my laptop in the car and pulled up our shared airline account. I'd booked all her tickets for years. She never liked dealing with travel stuff. But there was no flight booked from Chicago. Not even a reservation. I checked the last month. Nothing. She hadn't been in Chicago at all. She had been in Maine, with him. And he knew exactly how to reach me. I should have gone to the police right then. Or at least called someone, anyone. But her voice kept playing in my head. Whatever happens next, don't call the cops. It wasn't just fear. It was something worse. Like she was protecting him. Or maybe, protecting me from him. That's when I decided to call the number that had sent me the photo. My hands were shaking as it rang once, twice, then straight to voicemail. A man's voice. Calm. Confident. Like the kind of guy who always gets the last word. You've reached Owen. Leave a message if you think that's a good idea. I didn't leave a message. I just sat there, trying to figure out how this man knew me. How he had my number. Why he was sending me proof of the affair like it was part of a playbook. I looked him up. No full name. Just Owen. But I had something better. Her email. I logged in. We'd always shared passwords. She said, transparency builds trust. What a joke. Still, her inbox was cleaner than I expected. Nothing suspicious. Until I checked the drafts folder. There were 3 unsent emails. One of them was addressed to me. The subject line was, if you're reading this, I'm already gone. And that's when I realized. This wasn't just a betrayal. This was a setup. And I was already 2 steps behind. I don't know how long I stared at that subject line. Maybe a minute. Maybe an hour. My thumb hovered over it like opening the message might trigger some irreversible event, like a wire I couldn't uncut. But I clicked it. Of course I did. And what I read wasn't what I expected. It wasn't an apology. It wasn't a confession. It was a map. The email wasn't long, just a few lines, as if she typed it in a rush. But every word hit like a blade. Dalton, if you're reading this, I'm already gone. I know how this looks, but it's not what you think. Don't go to the police. Don't try to find me through Owen. He's not who he says he is. And if he contacts you again, do not reply. He's dangerous. That's not drama. That's a fact. I'll explain everything when it's safe. Until then, do not trust anyone, not even the people you think are on your side. No love, Blythe. No sign-off. Just that. Raw. Direct. Almost terrified. My mouth went dry. Dangerous? What did she mean by dangerous? I read it again and again, looking for some kind of hidden meaning. And I kept circling back to the last line. Not even the people you think are on your side. I didn't even notice my phone buzzing until the 3rd ring. It was Troy, my buddy in Colorado. The one I'd told everything to just a few hours earlier. The one I said I'd be driving out to. I picked up, and before I could even say hello, he was already speaking in a low, tense voice. Dalton, he said. Hey man, sorry to call again, but did Blythe get in touch with you? That stopped me cold. I hadn't told him she'd called. I hadn't told him anything about the photo, or Owen, or the email. Just that she missed her flight, and I thought she was cheating, and I needed a place to crash. That was it. I swallowed hard and tried to keep my voice level. Why would you ask that? Because, he said slowly, I just got a call from some blocked number. The guy asked me if I was the one helping you leave. Said I should reconsider my involvement. Then he hung up. My whole body went stiff. Someone was watching me, tracking who I spoke to, who I trusted, and now they were trying to cut me off from those people. Owen. It had to be him. I pulled the car over again and sat in silence. My wife was missing. The man she was with had my number, my friend's number, and God knows what else. She told me not to trust anyone, not to talk to the cops, not to reply to Owen. But that's the thing, I didn't reply. He contacted me again anyway. As I sat there, my screen lit up with a new text. Same unknown number. No name. Just one message. You shouldn't have opened the draft. My hands went cold. I checked my surroundings. The empty lot I parked in suddenly didn't feel so empty. Every car felt like it had eyes. I turned off the engine, ducked down, and turned off my phone. Somewhere between heartbreak and fear, something else started to grow inside me. Something unfamiliar. Rage. I didn't know what game they were playing, but I wasn't going to be the quiet loser in it anymore. The moment I turned my phone back on, I regretted it. There were 5 more messages, all from that same number, Owen. No contact name, no profile photo. Just that gray bubble sitting there like a ticking bomb on my screen. I didn't open them. Not yet. I just stared at the notification bar as if reading them would somehow give him more power. As if acknowledging his words might trigger something I couldn't undo. I wasn't scared in the traditional sense anymore. It had mutated into something else, something colder. Like I'd crossed some invisible threshold where the rules of normal life no longer applied. I wasn't a husband anymore. I wasn't even a betrayed man. I was bait. And I was done being passive. I drove home without telling anyone. No more calls. No more updates. I parked 2 blocks away, walked the rest of the distance, checked over my shoulder the entire time. I had no clue if Owen was nearby, watching, listening. But if he was, I wanted him to see me act, not panic. Inside the house, everything was just as I left it. Her side of the closet still full. The fridge still packed with things only she ate. Her toothbrush. Her perfume on the counter. All of it. Like she'd just stepped out and would be right back. But I knew better now. That version of Blythe, the one who danced in our kitchen at 10 p.m. to Fleetwood Mac, she didn't exist anymore. I opened my laptop and started searching. If I couldn't trust the police, and I couldn't trust my friends, I had to trust the one thing left, my own obsession. I looked up Owen. I tried combinations of his name, that restaurant, the photos metadata, anything. I ran the image through reverse searches. Nothing. But when I dug into the hotel charge from last month, one I had stupidly paid without checking, I found something. The receipt listed a guest account number. And when I ran that number through a couple travel forums where people shared loyalty accounts and booking hacks, it led to a username. Rook_3. That name meant nothing to me. Until I remembered the chessboard. In our attic, we had an old box of her stuff. College junk, childhood memories, boxes she never unpacked. One of them had an antique chessboard she once said was her father's. I never saw her play. I never saw her touch it. But she kept it like it mattered. I ran upstairs, practically tearing the attic apart, until I found it. The box was there, but it had been moved. I opened it. The chessboard was gone. In its place was a burner phone. It was old, cheap, scratched. And it wasn't dead. It had one message on it. Just one. If you found this, it means you're smarter than I gave you credit for. But not smart enough. Stay out of it, Dalton. No sender. No date. Nothing else. Just that. That's when it hit me. This wasn't just some affair. This was planned. Prepped. Layered like a puzzle built to confuse me, delay me, mess with my head. And somehow, Owen wasn't just part of it. He was it. The real question wasn't whether Blythe had betrayed me. The real question was she running from Owen? Or working with him? The next morning, I woke up on the couch to the sound of tires crunching gravel outside my house. I hadn't even meant to fall asleep. I had one of those half dreams where I thought I was still holding the burner phone, rereading the message over and over, but not smart enough. I jolted up, heart pounding, and peeked through the curtain. It was a car I didn't recognize. A beige Hyundai. Nondescript. The kind you'd rent if you didn't want to be noticed. A woman stepped out. Late 30s, maybe early 40s. No makeup. Hoodie. Joggers. She looked like someone trying really hard not to look like someone. I stayed back. Watched. She didn't come to the door. She didn't even look around. She just opened the trunk, pulled out a brown envelope, and slid it into my mailbox. Then she drove off. No hesitation. No curiosity. Like she'd done this before. I waited 5 minutes before I went out to check. My street was empty by then. The wind had picked up. That cold kind that feels like it's warning you not to open certain doors. But I did anyway. The envelope had no return address. Inside was a single page. Typed. No signature. No greeting. Dalton, you're not the first. Stop trying to be the last. You need to meet me, alone. No police. No friends. No Blythe. If you try to trace this, I'll disappear. Tomorrow. 3:45 p.m. The train station. North Bench. Blue hat. Hey. I read it 3 times, then turned it over. Nothing on the back. No scent. No smudges. Nothing I could use. It was the first time anyone besides Blythe or Owen had contacted me. And something about the message felt off. Not threatening. Not kind. Just factual. Cold. Like a warning mixed with a challenge. But I had nothing else. The next day, I showed up 20 minutes early. Wore a jacket I never wear. Took a long, winding route to make sure I wasn't followed. I scanned every person on that platform, pretending to check the train schedule. At 3:43, she showed up. Blue hat. Same woman. Hoodie now replaced by a brown coat. She sat on the bench, didn't look around. Just sipped from a paper coffee cup. I sat down 2 seats away. Didn't say a word. Neither did she. Then she spoke without turning. You think this started with you? I blinked. What? This pattern, she said. Owen. Blythe. The lies. The silence. The rules. It's not new. She reached into her coat and pulled out a small Polaroid photo. She slid it across the bench to me without making eye contact. It was Blythe, but not my Blythe. Younger. Her hair was shorter. She was in a kitchen I didn't recognize, smiling at a man with his back turned. But even from that angle, I could see it wasn't me. And it wasn't Owen either. This man was older, balding. And on the back of the photo, in smeared blue ink, it said, 1997. Property of M.D.F. I looked at her. What is this? She finally turned her head, and the look in her eyes wasn't sympathy. It was regret. Worn down. Exhausted. She was already part of it, the woman said. Before she met you. Before she married you. Before you ever thought she loved you. I stared at the photo again. Part of what? She stood up. Looked down at me with that same hollow expression. You want to keep playing detective, Dalton? Fine. But understand this. Blythe didn't betray you because she fell out of love. She did it because she was trained to. Then she walked away. I wanted to chase her. Demand answers. But I couldn't move. My knees actually felt locked in place. Because for the first time, I wasn't sure if I'd ever really known my wife at all. I drove home with the photo on the passenger seat, flipped face down so I wouldn't keep looking at it. But I still saw it. Every time I blinked. That kitchen. Her smile. The man she was standing beside. The back of his head. The date. And those 3 letters. M.D.F. I must have said it out loud a dozen times. M.D.F. What was it? A place? An organization? Some kind of file system? My brain kept reaching for something. Anything. That made it make sense. But the only thing I could think of was, this wasn't new for her. That woman at the train station said Blythe had done this before. Been part of it. Trained for it. What did that even mean? I couldn't sleep. I stayed up all night researching everything I could about those initials. M, D, F. Government agencies, corporations, cults, secret programs, even deep Reddit threads. Nothing jumped out, at least not right away, until I found an archived blog post from 2006. Just 3 paragraphs long. Buried on a site with broken links and an expired security certificate. The title? The MDF Room, where they built the women who disappear. I don't know what I expected, but what I read chilled me more than any photo or message so far. The post described a rumored program, never officially documented, about a behavioral lab run in the late 90s through a now-defunct domestic foundation that allegedly specialized in identity reform and trauma inversion. The theory? Take women from volatile backgrounds, give them new names, new skill sets, then reintroduce them into civilian life under fabricated backstories. Why? It wasn't clear. Some said it was for espionage. Others believed it was for private leverage games, corporate, legal, or worse. The final line of the post read, "They don't disappear by accident. They vanish on schedule." I closed the laptop and just sat there. My wife, Blythe, was born in 1989. That photo said 1997. She would have been 8. And yet, she didn't look 8 in the picture. She looked maybe 16. Almost like the date wasn't wrong, but the age I thought she had been. What if Blythe's age wasn't the only lie? I went into our bedroom and opened her drawer. Not the visible ones, the ones under the false bottom. She never knew I found it. She hid passports there. I'd seen them once by accident while looking for wrapping paper. She claimed they were old. Expired. Nothing important. But now I wasn't so sure. I lifted the panel and pulled them out. 3 of them. All with her face. None with the name Blythe. Emma Cargill. Born 1987. Janelle Quinn. Born 1985. Clara Deneau. Born 1986. Each had entry stamps. Travel logs. Different cities. Different lives. And not one of them had anything to do with Chicago, or Colorado, or even Maine. I sat on the edge of the bed, clutching them in my lap, feeling like I had just been cut loose from reality. Like the woman I married wasn't even a person, but a mask worn by someone who had been trained to leave me behind the entire time. Then my phone rang again. Blocked number. I didn't want to answer it. I told myself not to. But my hand moved anyway. It was Owen. His voice was quieter this time. Less smug. More controlled. You're getting too close, he said. You think this is about love, Dalton? About some broken marriage? No. You just walked into something that has rules. And consequences. I said nothing. Here's your choice, he continued. You can forget what you've found. Burn the passports. Delete the photo. Walk away and pretend you never knew her. And if I don't? I asked. He didn't hesitate. Then you'll meet her the way I did. In the dark. With no name. No past. And no way out. The line went dead. And for the first time, I finally understood. This wasn't a story about a man being betrayed by his wife. It was about a man who was never supposed to know who his wife truly was. I didn't burn the passports. I didn't delete the photo. I made copies. Took them to a lawyer, just in case something happened to me. I moved out of the house and into a motel on the edge of town. I stopped answering unknown calls. Stopped talking to friends. I told my job I needed time off. My life had cracked open, and the only thing keeping me from slipping through the fault line was this mission to know the truth. And then, just as I was beginning to accept that I might never get it, she came back. Not a phone call. Not a message. She knocked. It was 2:12 a.m. I was half awake, heart already racing from a nightmare I couldn't remember, when I heard 3 soft knocks on the motel door. I froze, slipped a pocket knife from the drawer, and crept to the peephole. It was her, wearing a gray hoodie, hair tied back. No makeup, no expression. She didn't say a word when I opened the door. She just stood there, like she wasn't sure I'd actually answer. Finally, I broke the silence. Is it really you? She nodded, stepped inside, and shut the door behind her. For a minute, we didn't speak. I couldn't even move. I just stared at her, waiting for the illusion to crack. And then she said it. My real name is Claire. I sat down. My knees gave out. Claire, I repeated. She sat across from me and finally began to explain. Everything. She'd been recruited when she was 16. No parents. No options. Just intelligence, obedience, and a willingness to disappear. The Foundation, M.D.F., had trained her to be a ghost. To be useful. To infiltrate, collect, vanish. But somewhere along the way, she got tired. Exhausted by the masks. The relocations. The lies. And then she met me. And for the first time, she didn't want to disappear. I wasn't supposed to fall in love with you, she said, eyes glassy. But I did. And that's when I became a liability. That's when Owen stepped in. He was her handler. The man in the photo? Not a lover, an asset. She was embedded in something corporate. Dangerous. She tried to leave, but you don't leave them. Not without consequences. The flight she was never on. She was never supposed to get on it. It was just a script to explain her vanishing. But she didn't follow the script. She broke the chain. For me. I sent the photo to you, she admitted. I made it look like an affair, because I thought if you hated me, it would be safer. I thought if you were angry enough, you wouldn't follow. I didn't know what to say. My whole body was shaking. Not from rage now, but from some awful blend of grief and relief. But when you didn't let go, she continued, voice cracking, when you started connecting the pieces, I realized you weren't just collateral. You were still trying to save me. She reached into her pocket and slid something across the table. A flash drive. What is it? I asked. Proof. Names. Documents. The kind of things they erase if they find you. It's everything I've ever done for them. With it, we disappear on our terms. But only if you want that. I stared at the flash drive. Then at her. I don't want revenge, I whispered. I just want to stop looking over my shoulder. She smiled for the first time in what felt like years. Then let's go. And we did. We left that night. No goodbye, no notes, no drama. Just two people who finally knew who the other really was. No lies, no masks, just the truth. We changed our names. Started over in a town that doesn't ask questions. I work at a hardware store now. She teaches yoga. Simple, boring, peaceful. Sometimes we still flinch when the doorbell rings. But we answer it, together. She's not Blythe anymore. And I'm not Dalton. But for the first time in my life, I finally feel like someone who's not running. And that's enough.